Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about BST's hitting philosophy. We talk about mainly four things. We talk about having a plan, mental approach, and then 2, which is timing, and then 3, which would be pitch recognition and plate discipline, and the last one would be biomechanics. So having a plan going up to the plate, super important. You're going up to the plate looking for what? A fastball. We're always telling our guys, look for the fastball, be ready for it. We see it all the time, whether it's amateur and not as much in professionals, but we'll see guys miss first pitch fastballs, foul it back, or swing and miss. So it's always being ready to go up to the plate, looking for what you're trying to do some damage with. All right? The second thing we talk about, which is timing. Timing is different for everybody. Everyone has their trigger, whether it's a big leg kick, whether it's a toe tap, or it's just pick up your foot and put it down, because you have to be comfortable with your timing. And then you can move into where your gather or load is, whatever you want to call it. Some guys like to start their gather or load when the pitcher separates their hands. Some guys like to go where once the pitcher gets to their lowest point with their hand, and some guys like to gather when it's an early cocking phase here. So usually what you'll see is the guys who have the bigger leg kicks, they're going to start earlier. So guys with bigger leg kicks, a lot of the guys will start when the pitcher separates their hands, or once they get down to the lowest part where the pitcher's hand gets to. And then for the guys who either toe tap or just barely pick up, you'll see those guys start their gather or load once the pitcher gets into what they call the early cocking phase. So that's super important too. But the biggest thing for timing is being comfortable, because if you're not comfortable in your position, you're not going to have the confidence and you're not going to be as successful as you can be. So look at that when you're going through your timing. And the third thing would be plate recognition, or pitch recognition, and plate discipline. So a lot of people think about plate discipline as swinging at strikes and taking balls. But as you get older, it gets a little more complicated. So for example, we have a lot of our guys, whether you're looking middle in or middle out, okay, looking for a fastball. If you get a pitch if you're looking for it middle away, if they throw a fastball in the inner third, it's okay to take that pitch because you're not looking for it. Especially as you get older, you're facing guys throwing 85, 88, 90 plus. It's difficult when you're looking for a pitch middle away and then you try to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball that's in, you're going to jam yourself up. So for us, the plate discipline is not necessarily about taking balls and swinging at strikes, but it's being disciplined enough to swing at your pitch in the count that you're looking for. And then also for pitch recognition, it's super important too, which we have drills for that as well, but it's just recognizing spin and recognizing fastballs and being ready and going back to it, being on time. And the last thing we'll talk about is biomechanics. Okay, so some of the basics that we talk about with the lower body is that when you're getting ready to go and gather a load, we want to kind of get to a spot where you kind of pick up and we're hip hinging back a little bit too. And also, as we start to go, we don't want everything just to rotate at the same time. It's holding that back leg in external rotation, hip hinge, and as that front foot gets down, everything starts to come. So you start to internally rotate that back leg. Okay, so as soon as that back knee starts to internally rotate, you see my front hip start to open. Okay, so if we internally rotate too early, you'll see your chest, shoulders, and head kind of come out. So we're not going to be able to do what? Barrel the ball up as consistently as possible. And that's the goal. It's hit the ball as hard as you can, as consistently as possible. So, and then pretty much towards the end of it, as those hands start to come through, back knee starts to internally rotate. Then as your hands start to come through, you notice your hands start to come down. And then as they come through the hitting zone between your back leg and front leg, everything starts to come flat through the zone. And then as that barrel and hands start to get in front of that front leg, that's when you start to have your swing start to come up. Okay, and that's where we want to make contact. Okay? And then lastly, you'll see as with that front leg, as you start to come through, that front leg lands and will be stabilized, and then we'll get to extension here to be able to get that force that we're putting into the ground. As you start to get that front leg extension, it's driving that force back up to your hands and to the barrel and make hard contact and consistent contact. So those are just the 4 points that we talk about with our hitting philosophy. We're going to be going into a lot of drills for you guys to do. If you got any questions, reach out to us. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Baseball Training.